job. Okay, so now, as you can see here, the graph is being analyzed. All right, the graph is being analyzed. What it's doing is it's actually reading what it needs to do for the job, and it's going to deploy the node. And these are all of the steps in the actual job. Okay, it looked at the job itself. Okay, great. I've got this template. I've got this input file. What do I need to do? Okay, great. These are the steps in here in the template. So it's reading all the lines, right? It's got to do a count, right? It's going to map them, and then it's going to write out the result file into the output folder for me. All right, and then it's going to put that into the output folder. So once it actually put all of its steps together, it deployed a virtual machine, a node behind the scenes to do this. And right now it's reading all of the lines in Shakespeare. It's actually reading through all of those lines in Shakespeare. Okay. And so that's what's actually happening. Now, while that's running, I'm going to leave that there. And let's talk about, because we'll come right back to that screen, our templates, right? You've got lots of different templates that you can select. All right, you've got lots of templates that you can select. Our templates here, all right, you can see where the classic ones flex, what the features are. All right, you can see what they can do, but you have options. All right, you've got options. As you can see the drop down in there, Google gave us a bunch of templates right off the bat. Hey, you've got all these, you've got all of those. And more importantly, with all of these templates, okay, you can click on them and go right to them so you can see exactly what they're doing. All righty, you can go in and see exactly what they're doing. I want to go to, big table or cloud storage to whatever. I can click on that template. I can go and it'll explain to me exactly what it's doing. All right, I can get the code, the template code if I want. I can see all the code that's going on in the template if I want to understand what's actually happening. Okay, let's see what this thing is doing. All righty, so it read all the lines. Now it's doing all the counting. Okay, it read the lines. Now it count. Now it's writing the file out to the folder, and now it's done. Okay, so it went through and read the lines, then it counted everything up. Okay, now it wrote to the folder. So let's see. I'm going to leave that there and open up a new window here and go into my storage. And that's fine. Let's go to our come on, refresh. Come on. Come on. Stop refreshing. Give me my bucket. All right. Go back over to this one. Give me my bucket. Dun, dun, dun. Cloud storage. Here's my flow. Let's see. Output should have something in it now. Let's click our output. There's the output file. All right. Let's see what it is. So, all righty. Every one of the words in Hamlet, it told me how many times. Out's in there 52 times. Okay. You can see sword is in there 16, thorns. You can see all of these, how many times each one of these words actually exist. Okay. Now, one of the things I would have done is I'll go in there and actually do a sort, have it right in alphabetical order. But, right, you can see how many times each one of these words is there. Okay. So lots of words are only in there once. Now, late is in there 10 times. All right, somebody's always late. Okay. Good is in there 82 times, right? XXX, that was at the very top. What do you mean at the very top? That was here. If I go input and open up the at the very top up here, you see where it says it's got that XXX. I'm like, what is that? Okay, that's what that is. All right, so that's only in there once, right? Blamed 3 times and so on. But the main thing here is you can see templates. Okay, you can use the different templates to get your processing done. All right, you can use the templates to get your processing done. So lots of templates there. All of these templates, you can go and you can see the code. If you want to change the code inside of there, you can do that also. All right, so you can set up your environment. From a developer perspective, if you are trying to do coding, best way to learn coding is to take code that you know works and make it your own, right? Go in, take a look at all the code and make it yours. All right, and make it yours. All righty. Composer, yes, And comparative compose is Data Factory. Yes. Data Factory lets us do all of this stuff. We will use Data Factory for Azure. Okay. I would use Data Factory for Azure. Okay. Fun, and whoops, fun. Sorry, didn't mean to scroll that. Okay. So that's our data flow. All right. We've got data flow, data flow, data flow. Now we have our other BigQuery. All right. With BigQuery, we're going to talk about a couple things. Now, on Monday, the entire session is BigQuery. So we have a lot to discuss in BigQuery. The main thing here that of the topics that we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about the architecture, you know, everything from the processing to the storage and all of that fun stuff. We're going to talk about the, you know, it's a columnar database. We're going to talk about slots. All right, we're going to talk about slots. That's going to be the main thing that you're going to need to be aware of. And I'll emphasize that. I'll show you a test question that I had in February that's not relevant anymore and explain to you why. Okay, that's not relevant anymore and explain to you why. All right, but more of the test items are going to come on Monday in our guidebook 5 because we're going to be talking about our partitioning and all of that fun stuff and different aspects. And let's see here, we're going to talk about externals, external queries, extended tables, right? I don't remember. I had a question on extended tables in BigQuery, but I cannot remember if it was PCA or PDE or database engineer. All right. I can't remember if it was, you know, it was there. All righty. We're in session 4. Your session 5 should be BigQuery also. Right. If you look at session number 5, in session 5, BigQuery. Session 5. Isn't that also BigQuery, BigQuery, BigQuery? Yep, BigQuery. Session 5, BigQuery. All right, we're in guidebook number 4 right now. Okay, we're in guidebook number 4. Okay, so guidebook 4, second half is BigQuery, all day Monday, BigQuery. Lots to talk about. All right, lots to talk about. I've got a question on Analytics Hub for the exam. I've had a question on partitioning for the exam. I've had a question on cost optimization for the exam and on security for the exam. All right, so you have a busy Monday. All right, So let's go to our BigQuery. Now, here's the deal. First thing I want you to notice is, even though BigQuery is a database, notice it's not under any of the relational or non-relational databases. It actually stands out by itself. All right, it actually stands out by itself. Why is that? Because with BigQuery, your BigQuery, I call it a hybrid database. Why do I call it a hybrid database? Is because BigQuery will let us bring in relational, non-relational, and unstructured data into BigQuery. But guess what? We can query all of this with regular SQL. That's supposed to be a queue. All righty. We can query all of this with regular SQL. That's why I call it a hybrid. All right. It's a unique, it lets us query it like a regular relational database, but it will let us bring in all kinds of data. Okay. It will let us bring in all kinds of data. When was it yesterday that we started out with our transformation services, our different migration services, right? If I go to BigQuery, BigQuery, all right, over here, data transfers, right? My BigQuery data transfer here. If I look at my transfer, where's my source? There's a lot of them. Okay, there's a lot of them. And so with these, I can bring in all kinds, already, of data. I can bring in all types of data for my environment. Okay, and let's build on that real quick. All right, let's build on that. So what is BigQuery? Fully managed data warehouse, right? Petabyte scale database. All right, petabyte scale database. It's reliable. Why is it reliable? Because underneath the covers, it automatically replicates itself and it auto scales. Why? Because it's fully managed. All right. Economical, I'm only going to pay for the processing and storage that I use. I don't have to go into BigQuery and say, hey, I want to start out with 100 terabytes. No, it'll scale as it needs to. All right. It scales as it needs to. It scales as it needs to, just like cloud storage. All right. Just like cloud storage. But as we'll see in a couple slides, it's a proprietary storage system. All right. It's a proprietary storage system. Dataware or your BigQuery. This is Google proprietary stuff. All righty. Secure. Yes, we're going to talk about security with your access control, your IAM, and your views. And then your data is automatically encrypted in all of your storage databases. All right. Auditable. Yes, everything is auditable. Right. I can audit everything in the cloud, but every transaction is logged, who did it, when they did it, how long did it take, all the other kinds of fun stuff. We've got lots of, we can run fast queries. One of the reasons that we can run a lot of fast queries is because it's a column database, not a row database, or columnar, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which I'm probably not, so I'm not going to say it again. Alrighty. Flexible. Man, I can, with the flexibility, I can query across data sets. I can query across external databases and data sources. I can query across other clouds. All right. In my own data sets, I'm good. If I want to query across Spanner and cloud storage and all the other stuff, I just create an external table. I've got an external query. If I want to query across Azure and AWS, now I'm just using Omni. All right, now I'm using Omni or BigQuery Omni. This lets me tap into other clouds. All right, all that's in there coming up, right? Easy to use, familiar SQL. This is probably the #1 thing that people love about BigQuery. Why? It's easy to use. Okay, I can run my queries Most database people are familiar with SQL. SQL is like all of our first languages. I don't have to know Python. I don't have to know Java. I can do machine learning models, SQL, right? With BigQuery ML, I could do all my stuff that I need to do in the native language that I was brought up in, all right? Lots of public data sets that are out there. We'll take a look at a couple of them, okay? I'm going to be dealing with the command console. If I want to do everything in the command line interface, I'll just do BQ, BigQuery. Instead of gsutil, I'll just start with BQ and then run all my stuff from the BQ utility. All righty, so everything is there. Now, like our regular relational databases, we are row-based. All right, we're row-based. Why? Because our regular transaction, online transaction processing, we're running, I'm going to say smaller data sets, right? If you're taking orders all day, your orders, each row, you've got to order, right? You're inserting, you're updating, you're deleting, but everything is row-based. When we go to OLAP, and now we're studying, right? Remember, OLTP runs the business, transaction processing. OLAP, analytical processing, studies the business. Okay, well, if I'm actually now, I'm taking orders over here, but now I want to study orders, and I want to study orders over the last 5 years. And I want to be able to break that down into hierarchies with years and months and quarters and months and weeks and days and all that. That's going to be a lot of aggregates now. All right, that's a lot of aggregates. I'm not inserting, updating, and deleting. Now I'm doing heavy selects and aggregates and grouping and all of that fun stuff. All right, so this is why column-oriented databases are faster for OLAP, not OLTP. All right, column-oriented databases are faster for OLAP, not OLTP, right? Transaction, row-based is better for transaction processing. Column structure is better for analytical processing, okay? Not a test question for you, but when I deploy my BigQuery, as you notice here in the region, BigQuery automatically replicates itself across 3 zones. Righty, part of that whole fully managed and dependable and reliable part, right? And one of the things we'll see also, I can make my data sets region or multi-region data sets where you can see them all over the place. Okay, so what is this whole BigQuery? BigQuery is actually 3 components, right? One, it's Colossus. This is the proprietary storage system. All right, built on Colossus, the proprietary storage system. The Dremel is the analytical engine that's actually running. These are the clusters that are running all of these queries. All right, these are the clusters that are running all the queries. And then Jupyter here, this is the connection. All righty, this is the connection between the storage and the processing. All right, this is the connection between the storage and the processing. All right, I got to grab this data from the storage so I can actually process it. All of this together encapsulates BigQuery. All righty, all of this together encapsulates BigQuery. And that's why the previous slide, one of the earlier slides, says storage and analysis, right, are separate. If I'm not running any queries, I'm not paying for any queries to run, right? So, but I still, if I'm storing a lot of data there, I'm still paying for storage. All right, I'm still paying for storage. And with these, okay, again, by being fully managed, they scale on their own. We do not have to provision any size space for our storage or how much data we want to bring in. All right. In BigQuery, we use the term data sets. Now, a data set is not an individual table. Data sets include tables. All right. Data sets include tables. And let's do this. Remember yesterday when we were in our billing, right? When we were in billing yesterday, and we talked about what? We talked about billing export, all right? And remember we said that in the billing, right, BigQuery is already set up for export into, okay, or from your billing system. And so if we enable these, for example, we talked about, hey, you've got one table, you've got two tables, you've got three tables. If you actually enable all of these, what does it do? It creates a data set in BigQuery with those three tables. And now you can query those tables, all right? And now you can query those tables, okay? It creates that data set. So a data set is a collection of tables. And when we're querying tables, we go project, the actual data set, and then the table that we want to query in that data set, right? I got state, okay, city, and then the address inside of there for the house, right? We're narrowing it down, okay? We're narrowing it down. We're taking it all the way down to here is the item that I want to get to, all righty? Your data sets themselves can be regional or multi-regional, all righty? Regional or multi-regional. What information do those tables hold? Take a look back at session 3 from yesterday. It shows the 3 tables. We even see an example of the 3 tables from yesterday in our billing section. Okay, that's the last, one of the last sections in, right before PubSub. It shows the 3 tables, and then you can take a look at those 3 tables and take a look at all the columns and everything else. Gives you all the detail. And then that's the one that actually showed after we saw a pretty looker report with all the charts and graphs on top of that, right? If we want to analyze, and that's a standard question on every PCA exam, is that you want to analyze the last 6 months or a year of your costs. What's the best way to do it? Billing export into BigQuery, do your analytics, use Looker on the front for your reports. All right. Tying them all together. All right. Tying them all together. So that was yesterday. Whew. Isn't this fun? So again, your data sets can be regional or multi-regional. All right. Regional or multi-regional. We still control everything with IAM. This is Monday, first part, Monday, security. Okay. And so with our security on Monday, we'll talk about, hey, you're going to give overall to the data set, or we're going to go and get a little bit more granular, right? Column level, all that kind of stuff, just to the data set, to a particular table, to a particular view, whatever. That's Monday. Okay. Now, here's the thing that you need to be aware of. This is the thing that changed. All right. Slots. What's a slot? And we're not talking about a casino. All righty. What is a slot? A slot is a combination of resources. All right. It's actually CPU, memory, and networking resources. All right. It's CPU, okay, processing, memory, and network resources. Everybody starts with, you know, in BigQuery, everybody starts with 2,000 slots. All righty. But if you think of slots as like horsepower, right? Hey, I've got a certain amount of horsepower, but I've got all these cars. Who needs to do what? Who needs how much horsepower? Do I have enough horsepower for all these cars to run the race? All right. You're looking at resources that you're going to be able to dole out, right? More slots, faster queries, right? More power, more power, more power. Well, here's the thing that I mentioned about the change, okay? The pricing for all of this, right? The pricing for all of this just changed this past June, July. All right, this past June, July, we used to have the on-demand pricing and that kind of stuff, but then we used to have like the flat rate pricing, right? And I know inside of here, one of your slides actually has the pricing on it. Okay, this is what you want to make sure you kind of read through real quick with the you see this capacity pricing and on-demand pricing. We used to have flat rate pricing. What do you mean? We used to be able to pay one rate and have an unlimited number of queries that month. Okay, so I'm going to pay you X amount and I can run as many queries as I want. And I think Google realized, like, wait a minute, you know, they're paying us one rate and they're like running 20,000 queries a month. If we change that, we could be making a whole lot more money. All right, we could be making a whole lot more money. Here's the question that I had on my exam in February when it came to slots. Okay, let's see the one. All right, here's the thing. Right, here's the question. There's two questions that I had on slots. Okay, well, first, let's make sure we actually finish discussing slots. Remember, your slots, okay, this is your power, right? Your slots, this is your computing power, okay? So more slots, you can run larger and faster queries, all right? How many slots do you want? How many do you have? Right? All of this kind of fun stuff. But with the slots, you can, and everybody starts off with a basic limit, right? But you can actually do on demand. What's on demand? How much do you need? We're going to charge you that. Okay. How much do you need? We're going to charge you that. You can set up how you want to pay for your slots. This was the link that I just clicked on. Okay, that I think that link is in this slide here. All right, inside of your notes at the bottom. But whoops, come on, back to you. This is the when you're talking about pricing. Okay, when we're taking a look at pricing and when we're looking at our slots and we're going in and we're actually paying for these, this is the cost, right? On demand, $6.25 per terabyte. Now, okay, you might look at that and say, hey, that's not cheap. That's not expensive at all. Well, here's the question that you have to ask yourself. Okay, remember, this is a data warehouse, petabyte data warehouse, petabytes data warehouse. In the Intel spaces, if you tell me, hey, I need you to run this query on this 700 terabyte database, or that's not a big deal. That we do that all the time. You think about how much data we have. All we do is analyze and study stuff. All right, we have to learn, and we need a lot of data to learn from. So if you say, hey, it's only $6.25 a terabyte, but I'm getting ready to process 600 terabytes. Wait a minute, are you telling me you're going to charge me $3,600 for that one query? Yep. Kind of put it in perspective now, doesn't it? Okay, kind of puts it in perspective now, doesn't it? And so those are some of the things that we have to remember when we just kind of think about, oh, yes, a terabyte, that's a lot of data. But remember, this is your data warehouse. You can have lots and lots and lots of data in your data warehouse, right? And so you don't want to just think, yeah, that's not a problem. Okay, how much data are we getting ready to query and process? And I'm going to show you how we can look and see how much our processing is going to be before we actually run that query. All right, before we actually run that query. So when we're taking a look at, you got a slot recommender also that can take a look at our environment and actually recommend, hey, you know what, you might want to do this. It'll analyze what we've been doing, right? What have you been using? Hey, you've kind of been going down. Oh, you're going up again. all right, looking at your slots, and it'll recommend, you know what, you might want to switch to this. You might want to do that. You might want to have some committed use so you can have, some of those discounts. Your data warehousing, you're going to be running queries for the next year. Go ahead and commit, right? Go ahead and commit 1 year, 3 years, whatever we're doing. All right. We can reserve, see this reserve capacity up front for unlimited queries and all of this stuff. This is why I said you want to make sure, all right, that you go ahead and take a look at that pricing. All righty. And take a look at that pricing. The slot estimator here, you can see the slot estimator. That link is right there in your slide. Also, what you should be looking at and how to estimate your slots. Okay, and how to estimate your slots there. But that's what you want. Okay, now let me show you my question that I told you that changed. Alrighty, so here's the thing. Remember I said it start with a set amount of slots, and then you have to pay to get more slots. How can you, let me put this in the chat window also, because I knew one of you were going to remind me to do that, right? So let's see here. Can we have multiple data sets? Oh, heck yeah. Tons of data sets in one. Yeah, lots and lots. Remember, petabytes worth of data. You can have lots and lots of data sets. Okay, let's see. See if all of this copies and pastes. Now, this, please, 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 please make note of this. This is a legacy question. This question does not apply anymore. This is a legacy question. And that's why I keep saying, make sure you read up on the new pricing. The pricing changed in July, all righty, or June, one of the J months of this year. So the pricing just changed. So you want to click on that link, all right? You want to click on that link in your slide there that goes to the pricing, all righty? Do not read this question and think that this is still current. I'm telling you now, this is a legacy question. All right. This is the question that I had in February. Everything changed this summer. All right. So how can you address users not getting BigQuery slots when there is a quota of 2,000 concurrent on-demand slots per project, and you want to avoid adding new projects to the account, right? Switch to this flat rate pricing. All right, we can switch to flat rate pricing, set up a priority system so people can get, who's got a priority. Your queries might have a higher priority than mine. All right, your queries might have a higher priority than mine. Okay, so we can switch to the flat rate pricing. Please put some asterisks, some stars, or some kind of note on here that says, look at the pricing. All righty, and let's see, here is another. Dun, dun, dun. All right, now this one is current. Okay, this one is current. Now, copy and paste. And let me pin these so they don't go anywhere. Pin and pin. All righty, so let's take a look at this one. How can you enable each team to monitor BigQuery slot usage within their respective projects? Now, we don't talk about this in this class, in these sessions, right? This is one of those adjacent questions, all right? This is one of those adjacent questions. Remember, I said they can ask you adjacent questions, right? Why? Because for the certification, what did they say? Oh, we expect you to have at least 3 years of experience and da-da-da-da-da. So they're assuming, you know what? If you've done BigQuery, you've monitored BigQuery. All right, you've monitored BigQuery. So this is one of those adjacent questions. Hey, how can you monitor slot usage? Guess what? There is a metric for slots. All righty, so inside of our monitoring here, right? Inside of our monitoring, what can we do? We can just create a dashboard, right? Our dashboards are going to pop up right up front here as soon as that actually shows up. Dun, dun, dun. Nope, stop. All right. Hey, look, dashboards, 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 dashboards. Let's create a dashboard and let's add in our metrics. All right, let's create a dashboard and let's start adding in our metrics. And let's use the metric for, boom, here we go, slots. All righty, there's a metric for that. Okay, so how do we monitor? And again, this should tell you right here, ooh, monitor, cloud monitor. What's cloud monitor? Metrics, logs, right? What's monitoring? Metrics, logs, okay? So that's what we've got, right? These are the two questions that I had on dealing with slots, all right? These are the two questions I had on slots. My other ones were security, partitioning, was it BI engine, you know, no, analytics hub. Analytics hub, that's all Monday. All right, that's all going to be Monday for us. But these are the two slots questions that I had. Okay, fun stuff. All right, so let's talk some more. Now, you have BigQuery additions. You don't need to know any of the additions. All righty, you don't need to know the additions and all of that kind of stuff. Nobody's going to say, oh, I'm supposed to get BigQuery super duper. No. Okay, I need the Enterprise Plus or the Enterprise or the Standard Edition. No, they all give us, you know, the flexibility, right? Predictability. Hey, we can do commits, or, okay, we can go in and set up what type of payment things we want, right? We've got auto scaling, BigQuery, you know, or the BI engine. We'll talk about that on Monday. All right, we'll talk about that on Monday. So when you're looking at all of this stuff, that's fine. Okay, none of this you need to know because we're talking about the additions here. Okay, just going back real quick. Fully managed, right? The whole auto scaling part is awesome because it stays in your sweet spot. All right, it stays in your sweet spot. Usually when we have to provision something, we're either going to be too late. Man, I needed this a while ago and we were pegged out and we're going slow. Or we're going to be too soon. I'm provisioning all of this because I'm hoping to grow into it. But yeah, you're still paying for it, even though you're not using it yet. All right, you're still paying for it, even though you're not using it yet. All righty, so that's what we have with that. Okay, different additions. Again, hey, standard, this is what we get, right? You can see the cost per slot hour. Enterprise has all the standard plus. Enterprise Plus has all the Enterprise Plus, right? All of this stuff here. So organizations know exactly what they need. All right, organizations know exactly what they need. Okay, so let's do this. Let's take our second 15-minute break. And then when we come back, we should be done probably next 30, 45 minutes. All right. So take another break and we shall return.